Sheree. I am account manager here at Workamajig, and today's webinar is going to be Platinum for Creatives, and this is a basic webinar, so if you're looking for something advanced, this is definitely not the session for you. Okay, so let's hopefully everybody can see my help guide here. I just wanted to bring you here just so that you could see what we're going to be covering today. Go to the user roles and features and go to creatives. And basically I'll be covering what you see here, the Today Creatives page. We're going to look at some of the graphs and projects. I will also cover a little bit of the everyone option. So if you moved back here to roles, you could go to everyone, and I will be talking a little bit more about what you guys might see here. All right. And for those of you who don't know where I'm at our support site. You can type in support.workamajig.com. It's going to bring you here. You do not have to be logged into Workamajig, so which is great. It'll open up on any browser tab that you have. Okay. Next, let's move into our dashboard. So when you log into Workamajig for the first time, you guys are most likely going to have this Today page set up for yourself. This is a default. This is what we call the Today Creatives page. And it's basically designed for you guys to enter your time, update your tasks, complete your assignments, and basically access any project related information. Okay. Of course, if this is set up correctly, you know, there's going to be a lot of extra features that you'll be able to use. But before I take a deep dive into the Today Creative page, I do want to take you to the main menu here. After you guys have clicked the Workamajig or the little jiggy face, then it's going to bring you here. And you guys are going to see different modules all across the top. Now, each one of these are drillable. You can click into them, and then they're going to give you options to be able to, sorry, having a little issue right here. Okay, so as you click each one, there's going to be different apps underneath them. So in this one, everyone's going to have a timesheet or a calendar or an expense report. And then of course, as you click each module, each one's going to have a different underneath. Now, I may have things more or less than you, and this is all based on how your admin sets up your system. Okay, so if you're looking at yours right now and you're saying, well, I don't see those buttons, why can't I see that? It's probably because they haven't set that up for you. So of course, if there's anything you guys see here, you're more than welcome to ask your own system admin to set that up for you. Okay, so as you click into, I'm not going to go into each one, but as you click each module, it's going to give you certain modules underneath it. In this case, Naya has the ability to look at companies and contacts if she needs to. All right. And for those of you who wear multiple hats, maybe you're a project manager as well as doing creative work as well. So if that's the case, then we've created your own module here. You're going to be able to go into campaigns or planning projects. If you guys are using our deliverables, then you'll be able to use that say that a couple of times. Wow. Deliverables board. And then we also have our to-do board. Okay, so I will go over a little bit of these two things as we go along. But again, I just kind of wanted to take you quickly into these different modules so that you could see. Now, really, I have a billing button here for Naya, but really she only has access to see a list of clients. So that's why you only see the one module here. And of course, you know, again, this is going to be different for each person. Okay, let's go over here to the top right. I'm going to cover our menu bar. The first thing that you see here is our approval bell, or what we call a notification bell. Now, when you see something lit up here, that is your indicator to come in here and figure out what's going on. It's letting me know that Naya has a deliverable that she needs to take care of. So of course she would open that up. It would give her the project, the due date, what round she's in. And at that point, she would just click it open. And then she has her deliverable that she needs to review, right? She can come over here to the right, click that plus sign, make a comment, add a comment, do whatever she needs. That comment would be listed here, should make a decision. And then of course she would, make, oops, goodness gracious. Wow, that was good. Sorry guys, hold on. All right, woo, sorry about that. So now at this point, if she was done with this, she could just close it out. And then of course, what's the next thing that she needs to look at? She would come down here. Oops, I've got a meeting to go to. Let's go to this meeting. And I see that I have a staff meeting to go to. So the question is, do I go to this staff meeting or do I not? Well, I can click it open right here and it's going to let me approve or reject whether or not I'm coming to this meeting. But down below, you see this view details. Oops. So here, this is going to give you the details of that meeting. I'll be able to see the time, who's attending. What's also great about this meeting is down here, you have your time entry already filled out for you. So we make it very easy for you guys to enter time as long as your project managers or your system admins are setting it up the way we recommend. Okay, so here this staff meeting is actually linked to my overhead project, and so I can see that it says staff meeting. It's pulling in my default service, or in this case Naya's default service, and you'll notice it already put the time in for me. So at this point, yep, I can say, yeah, you know, maybe I'm done and I want to go ahead and hit yes. Oops. And then I'm going to go ahead and approve. And as I do that, my options have been removed. So as you go through each one of these notifications or this items to approve, then of course it's going to change the number that you see. Now down below, I have unsubmitted timesheets. Now for those of you who actually do timesheets, then you're going to need to come in here and submit, or most likely you would have already approved it. But I can come in here, I can look at my timesheet, I can click open on the line, I can see what project, what service, what hour I'm putting towards. Now, the one thing you might see different on yours, hold on just a sec, sorry. So Naya here, she has the ability to approve her timesheet. Those of you who come in here and you see a submit button, that's just telling you that someone else approves your timesheet, so you can't do it yourself, okay? But let's say, you know, the only time you would see a reject would be if someone else was reviewing your timesheet, they rejected it, and then of course they would tell you, you know, whatever's wrong with it, and then you would go back, fix it, and resubmit. Okay, so in this case, Naya has the ability to approve her own timesheets if she wants to. Once she does that, it'll disappear from here. And then the one thing I did want to mention is your messages. Some of you may have your messages coming in through the notification bell. Now, what you can do is on the far left, because I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to fill up and it's going to be endless. So if it's something that's important, read it. If it's not, there's going to be a little thing over here to the right that says, I think it's a clear all button. So you can clear all your messages. And again, you don't want to keep too much in here. You want to take care of everything that's going to show up in the notification bell. Okay. Next, let's go to our magnifying glass. Here, there's 3 functions to our magnifying glass. This one is for your global search. So here I can start to type stuff in and it would then realign itself or search all those different areas within Workamajig so that they can, you know, populate for you. Now, I'm one of those people who do not like to scroll forever. So if you click onto the headers, these will actually collapse those different areas. And maybe you wanted to come in to see the test company or the, you know, the client record. You would be able to do that with, you know, without having to scroll forever. Okay. Next, we have a recent button. This recent button is kind of like a quick jump. So if you don't want to go back to the global search and start typing, you can just quickly come in here. I'm going to just open up that project, look it over, go where I need, and come quickly back here. Now, it just did close it, so sorry about that. So that's a quick jump. Next to that, we have our views. Now, our views are pretty much what we call listing screens. You're going to hear me call that as well as you'll hear people call them reports. Okay, and technically they are reports, but we just call them listing screens. Now, when I click into my timesheets, you'll notice here, I can look at all of my timesheets. I can run it. I can also run it by approval. Maybe I want to see all my rejected timesheets. But again, I have the ability to look at all my timesheets here, click them open. Same idea here that I showed you before. So in this case, this one's been approved. I can see that. And the other thing I wanted to mention about these listing screens, you may click some of them and then get an access denied. All that is saying is that you do not have rights to go into those reports and run them. But again, whatever you have access to typically will fall under each one of these. The last thing I'll show you quickly here is your expense reports. So for those of you who fill out expense reports, this is a great way to see what's been submitted, what hasn't been submitted. You just click into my expense reports, run it, and there I can see that I have 2 unsubmitted expense reports, and even one I didn't even fill out. So you can see that total amount of 0. So again, you guys have the ability to use these reports if you want. I'm not going to go through all of the rest of these, but at least you guys know now where you guys can come take a look at them and run them. All right. Okay, next let's go to our plus sign. This plus sign is for anything new that you want to start. And this is also security group driven, meaning if you don't have the rights to certain areas, it's not going to work for you. So in this case, maybe Naya wants to start a meeting. She can go ahead and do that. Or maybe she wants to, I don't know, maybe go to a project, add a project to the system. Some people are going to have different rights. So your plus sign will adjust according how you're set up. Okay. So that's the plus sign, very easy to use. Next is your personal settings. So here I can add an avatar. I can click into this contact information. You'll notice that Anaya has a signature. So if I click into that, you guys can fill out as little or as much as you want. And then down at the bottom, we do have this little A, and this allows you to pick different fonts. Now, I don't know why, but we don't have a script font. So if you guys open up, a Word document, use script there, copy and paste in here, it will actually save it. So again, you have limitations, but you can kind of get around it, right? Next, under login information, this is where you're going to enter a password change if you need to. And then at the top, we have our default settings. So for those of you who live in a different time zone than where your corporate office is, you want to make sure your settings are set to where you live, okay? Not the corporate office, but where you live. Then down below, we have a pop-up. We have different reminders that you can set up. Maybe you want only pop-ups and not email, or you want both, okay? Then below that, we have our default color for our calendar. So again, you guys have the ability to kind of customize these a little bit to what you guys like. All right, the next thing I wanted to cover is this backup approver. This backup approver should only be set when you guys leave the office, okay? You do not want to put someone else on your team as a backup. And the reason for that is they will start to get all of your approvals as well as your messages. So you do not enter someone in here until you are out of the office. Now, of course, this backup approver only relates to things that you're responsible for approving. That is it. Okay, so again, if someone needs to approve things for you, you're going to want to set that up before you leave. All right. Now, notification messages. You guys can decide what kind of notifications you want to get. Maybe I want to get a calendar notification, or maybe, I don't know, purchase orders, or any of these options here. You guys can check mark the little boxes, and then you'll be notified of those things. All right. Okay, so let's get out of here. Nope, don't want to change it. Down below is your default page. So if you click into this blue hyperlink, you're going to come over here. Maybe you want a different page to open up at. Maybe you want the system to open up your calendar, or maybe your timesheets. You guys can do that, and you can pretty much pick anything here. We do recommend doing the today pages. So for example, I have my today creative page, but if I'm a project manager, I should have the today PM page. And I will show you how you can get to your tasks if you're kind of doing schedule work as well as being a project manager. I can show you how to get to your tasks as well from there. All right, and then the last little piece that I wanted to show you here, you can set up your own background and your background image, and then it'll just change when you go to refresh or the next time you log in or log into Workamajig. Okay. At the top here, we have your log out button. Underneath more, we have our help guide. So this is an easy way to get to the help guide if you don't want to type it in. Down below, we have our system messages. So we let you know when we're going to have an update. So this one was our last month's update here. We're going to be getting ready in a couple of weeks to be doing our April update. But this is just giving you a little quick message letting you know it's coming. And then we have our release notes. So right now, this is letting you know that we're going to be starting our update on April 17th. And these are things that are going to be changing in the new update. Maybe we add some new features, or maybe we fix something. And you don't have to go through this entire thing. You can pretty much just pick the areas that are relevant to you and then just go on to the next one. So again, if I'm a project manager, maybe I need to look at all of these new things, if there's any new features that were added or things that were fixed. Okay, so again, we recommend you reading these just to keep up to date with everything. All right. Next, we have mark everything as read. That's going to be pertaining to those emails I talked to you about so that it's not clogging up your approval bell or your system. You can just say mark everything as read. You can remove your avatar. Then we also have this show error log. Anytime there is a problem with your system, you can copy this. See down here on the bottom, it says copy to clipboard. Then you can email it to support@workamajig.com, and then we can forward it on to the engineers. But again, it would be nice if you could explain exactly what's happening, right? Okay. That pretty much covers everything under the more button. So I'm going to come back here to the left. And the other thing I wanted to show you was this interactive walkthrough. Once you click it, it's going to bring a box down here. And based on what your security group rights are set at, then you can come in here and say, well, I have a settings. I want to set up my settings. And how do I add an email signature or maybe an avatar? If you click that, it's going to start it like this. You just click the start button and it will actually take you click by click on how to do that process. If there's one there that you don't see and you'd like us to build it, there's a feedback button right when you're done doing your first one, and then you can always let us know and then they will do their best to build it. Okay, so that's pretty much covering the navigation piece of it. Did anyone have any questions? Okay, sorry about that. So it looks like it says we submit timesheets weekly, but I get a notification each Tuesday through Friday that I have timesheets that need to be approved or submitted. It could be that your system settings, the notifications, your admins or whoever has access to the administrator, they're the ones that set how the notifications go out. And maybe they have you guys set up for daily versus weekly. That's all done on the back end. So you would have to check with them. Okay. And let me see what other questions I might have. Can you do that again? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I don't know what do that again is. Let's see. Can you go back to the deliverables where creatives was uploaded and you can review the comment? I will show. Oh, okay. I can do that. So we were talking about the deliverables. I was opening it up. And you wanted to look here. We're kind of getting into the weeds, but that's okay. So this is where you can add a comment. This is also set up by your admin. So maybe some of you only see two little tools, but they have the ability to update that. Okay. So this was just a deliverable that Naya is responsible for approving. All right. Doesn't look like we have too many more questions here. So let me go back. We got a couple more. All right. Are you able to see a preview of what different team members are able to see within Workamajig on their behalf? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, you actually have to, you can't preview it if you're an administrator. So basically the question was, how do you see or preview what different team members are able to see within Workamajig on their behalf? The only way you guys can do it is if you log in with their user ID and password. That's the only way you can do it. And if you are going to do that, make sure you open up their record in a completely different browser than what you're logged in as. If you log in on the same one, then it confuses the system and it can't identify who's who. Okay, so just FYI. All right, let's go ahead and we are going to move forward. So now I want to talk a little bit more about our Today Creative page. As I mentioned, this is the default page that you're going to come to. We do have display options. You can click more. We have our display options here. This actually controls the tasks that you see on this Today Creative page. I can set a date range for all, meaning I want to see everything I'm assigned to, but I only want to see tasks that I'm able to start, which means the predecessor before my task was completed. And that's what this little box is related to. I'm also one of those people who do not like to click. So I expanded all my tasks so that I could see all the detail. If not, you're going to be clicking a caret to open it up. Okay. I can group these differently. So right now this is by due date, but let's say that I wanted to change this by priority and I want to see what that's going to look like. You'll notice now I have low, medium, and high. Well, I pretty much want that the other way around. So again, you have your display options. Oops. And maybe we want to do it in descending because I want to see all the hot stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and refresh. And we'll refresh this way. Did I not save it? Oh, nope, did not. Let's do that again. And priority. There we go. All right, so now this is showing me all of the tasks that are high. Now, the only way that this works is if your project manager, when they set up your schedule, they went in and changed the statuses for these so that they're high, medium, and low. That is the only way you'll be able to get this ability to do it by priority. Okay, so you guys do have the ability to set up these options. I did want to make one statement. When you use the display options, it is only used for our task card view and our tile view. Okay, it does not work for our third one, which is this tile view, which is controlled by a different screen. Okay, so keep in mind, this display options is only used for the task card view and the grid view. All right. One last thing I will mention about this, I'm just going to say no. You guys can bookmark different views. So for example, maybe I want to see one for all, and then I want to create another one where I am just saying, well, I don't want to see everything. It's too much. I just want to see maybe things that are due on or before 2 weeks from today. You guys have the ability to adjust your display options. And then of course, in this way, I don't like it by priority. So I'm just going to go back to my due date and we'll do a descending. And then of course, then it's going to look at the priority. All right. So I save that and there I go. Okay. So I, like I said, maybe create 2 different views and you can bookmark it on your browser. I like to put them on this little toolbar here and I can access them any way I want. Okay. All right. So the other thing I wanted to mention, you have this little calendar icon. This actually shows you your current calendar month. And I can actually go back to a different page and see what maybe notes I had on that daily feed. But you guys can use these little calendars. It shows up in blue for today. And then of course you do have this little plus sign here. This plus sign is if you want to assign tasks to yourself. This actually shows you all unassigned tasks where they have a service that you can do. So you could literally come in here and say, well, I've got time to do this, assign the task to me, and now I've just assigned myself something new. Okay, so I'm showing you all different kinds of features, but understand if certain things aren't turned on, you're not going to see them. Okay, so again, I might show you a little something here and there that you might not have seen before. You also have the ability to enter in a blank time entry as well as start a blank timer. But typically we recommend that you put in your time from your task card. Okay, so again, you guys have the ability to, you know, look at these differently and how you enter time differently, a couple different ways. We'll also go over that as well. Okay, so what I do want to do is talk a little bit more about your index cards. Okay, so this is going to give you all of the information you need to do your work. So here I could click onto the project. Anything blue in Workamajig is a hyperlink. So that means it's going to open up a different area within the system. And so I recommend you guys start clicking away. Okay, so this here, I can see my project description. I can see my daily feed. Anything down below, I'd be able to look at those things as well. Each of these are little carrots. So maybe you want to open something up to see if something's there, or you thought there was a spec sheet, but you're not seeing it here. You guys can click into these little carrots and open those sections up if you have rights to. Okay. Now, down below, I have access to these other tabs here, as long as I have those permissions. But what you can do on these is you can click into the little folder icon, and this is going to jump you to those areas. Well, maybe I want to look at the schedule and see what's here. Again, these are different areas that you might have access to. I, you know, maybe want to see the conversations if there were any, and in this case, there aren't. Okay. So these cards, discards view, are going to be full of information. So I can see my task card, I'm on my layout, I'm doing creative direction, and it looks like I was allocated 3 hours, and I haven't even put time to this yet because it's saying 3 hours remaining. I can come in, I can put time to it by clicking onto this little clock icon. Here, when I start a new entry, it's pulling in the project, the task, my service. Now, the only thing left for me to do here is say, well, you know, I worked 0.5 hours. I can go ahead and save that. And then it now just entered time on my today page over here in the corner. And then, of course, it's also going to show up on my timesheet page. And I will show you that in just a few minutes. Okay, so we make it very easy for you to enter time. When you are done putting in time, you want to set up your percentage. These percentages actually feed to the project's listing screen, and there's a percentage complete. So for us, if you're doing, maybe you don't put time to tasks, then what you're going to do is just mark it 100% complete. But if you are going to put time to tasks, then the easiest way to do it is do it from here, set it up, or you can set up a timer. It's going to pull in the same features, the project, the task, the service. So again, you guys have the ability to enter time very easily in Workamajig. Now, one thing I am going to say about this timers, if you set multiple timers up at the same time, they're going to continue running. If you, at the end of the night, you forget to close these timers, tomorrow morning when you come back in, they're going to be running. So at that point, you can stop them, change the numbers to what you really worked. Okay, so just be kind of cautious of that those timers will continue going until you stop them. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about is when you click onto the task card, it will open up the details to the far right side. Here, I could look at a description of work if there was, or a deliverable on this project, and you can create what are called to-dos. And in this case, on this task, a to-do is like a checklist, things you got to get done before you complete this task. So some of you may have this turned on, some of you don't. I actually have extra features turned on. So that means I cannot just click I'm done with this and it automatically save. I actually set it up to where I have statuses. So in order for me to complete this, I have to change the status. But you'll notice now, I am now down to 2 items off my list. So this is a great way to keep reminders for yourself. I have project managers that set them up on their templates so that certain things are always taken care of and that it always populates when they create a new project. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you too is you have your conversations. If there were conversations on this project, I would be able to see them. Okay, you can even start a new conversation right from this plus sign. Also, I might as well, while I'm here, talk about it. So the system knows that Naya created this post, but she has the ability to invite other people. So maybe I start typing, someone's name in, and it gives me my coworker. I can add my coworker, click done, and then they're going to be added to this post. Now, what's also neat about this is if I do a pound and I type in, 0033, what that's going to do, it gives me the ability to add every single team member on this post. Okay, so I don't have to do it one by one. I can do it that way if I wanted to. And down below, it's very small for you guys to see, but if you guys are following along, it's in gray. If you put an @ symbol and company, like the name of the company, it will pull all the contacts in. Okay, so there's some little tweaks here that are tricks that you guys can use. The other way is you can click into the little 2. I can say, well, here's all my staff, or maybe I just want to see, my client contacts, and I can add anybody I want to. Okay, so I just wanted to quickly show you that. You may have different types. So I've taken my system a step further, and if I create a type, then I can select different types for different conversations, and you could use that as a filter too. Okay, there's also visible to client. The minute you add a client to a post, this box will automatically show up. But of course, if you come in here and delete the contact, and then that button will uncheck itself. All right, so enough with the conversations. Let's come back out. No. One thing I do want to show you here is you'll notice here I have spec sheets and it's in red, and you'll notice on my task 2, it's here. Anything new that's been updated to your projects, the system is going to let you know that. So click in there, find out what it is. I could see that there's a new spec sheet. So open up that spec sheet, review it, and then that light should come down the next time the system refreshes. Okay. So any other questions about the task card view? Because I'm going to move on to the other views that we have. Okay, so moving on, grid card view. This is another view. Again, it's just so that you guys can pick what you guys like to see. You click once on the line. I can see my assignment details like I did before. I can see my project. I can go to the different areas, kind of like on the task card view. Here's your little clock timer. You don't really need to enter time here. If you'll notice down here, the system already has this box open. So this is how it makes it a little bit different than the task card view. You can also favorite things. Maybe this is a task that you want to keep up at the top. You guys can favorite things and then they'll show up there. And of course, you can go ahead and save your time entries once you've completed your, once you wanted to enter that time for there. Sorry, kind of lost my head there. The last view that I wanted to show you is your tile view. So typically you will have only this one view, or you might have the card view and the grid view together. I don't see very often that you have all 3 because they work very differently. So this tile view is controlled by another traffic screen that we have, and it only looks at work for a week. Okay, so this is a way for you to drag and drop different things under different categories. Now these categories are going to be different per company because again, your admins are setting these up ahead of time. All of you may have the completed box, and what that does is it's going to show me any tasks that have been completed at 100%. And the one big difference is the task card disappears on the other screens when it's finished, but on the tile view, all of your completed assignments are going to show up here. Okay. For those of you who I'm going to show you again, if you're entering, you're just marking your tasks done, you can just go to your percentage complete, come down here to percentage, the 100%, and then it's going to ask you, are you completed? Yes. And of course, oh, this is a great example. If you guys have open to-dos that you forgot to finish before completing your task, the system is going to let you know that you forgot to take care of these things. So what do you want to do? I can go ahead and reassign them to someone else, or I can go ahead and put in a service if I want. And then of course I could save, right? So in this case, I would probably say, nope, I'm just going to leave it until I take care of those to-dos. I can open them right from here and take care of them one by one. And then I would be able to go ahead and move it over to the completed status. Okay. All right. Let's next talk about our display options under more. We do have an in and out box you guys can use. These are all different features that you can turn on. So again, if you guys go in there and you're not seeing anything, it's probably because you guys haven't had it turned on. So in this case, I can see that Zane is in the office and Gavin is out of the office today. I can set my own status, letting everybody know I'm here, or maybe I don't want anybody to know I'm here. But anyway, these are the just in and out boards. I already went over the display options for you. I do want to cover this little contact support. If you guys are having problems with the system, you guys can email us just from clicking that little icon, and you can let us know what's going on with your system. If you guys can send videos, that's the best way, because now we can retrace your steps to be able to get the same problem that you were having. If you guys can include screenshots, that helps. Sometimes I get emails from people saying, oh yeah, I'm having a problem with my project. Well, what project? I mean, you got hundreds of them in the system, you know. Again, getting very detailed when you have issues helps us a lot, and we won't keep bugging you for more information. Okay. All right, going to the other side to the left here, I want to click onto the conversations. Now, there's different views here, and I think people get a little confused. Underneath projects, this is just showing you projects that you're on the team of where conversations are taking place. This does not mean this is a conversation directly to, you know, assigned to you for you to do. Okay, this is just letting you know this is what's going on. If I wanted to kind of see what's up, I can click into that. I can see these conversations show up. I can reply to this if I wanted to, or maybe I want to subscribe myself to this. Maybe you saw this and you're thinking, well, I should be a part of this conversation. You can actually add yourself right here, right from here. Okay, once you're done, then of course it's no longer going to show up as, you know, replies or unread. Next to the projects, you have your open button. This open today, this week, these are all related to conversations or activities that you were directly assigned to. Okay, this is when you would come in here and say, oh, well, I've got to see what I've got to do today or this week. You'll be able to see your unread. Any favorites that you might have are going to show up here. So again, these are just all of your conversations that are taking place. Next to that is our daily feed. So if I came in here and let's see if we can get it to populate, the daily feed is actually going to track every place that you were at and what you did. So let's go take a look at this, and I don't know, let's pick a project. Hold on. Here. And let's say I wanted to add a file. Oh, I could see another file here. I don't need to add a file. Or maybe I do want to add another one. We can upload a file here if you're given rights to do it. And I can upload it. And then I'm going to refresh. Oops. And there we go. So this is going to log everything that you touched for today. Anything in blue, again, is a hyperlink. I can go right to this project. I can see on this one that I added a file. So this is going to keep track of everything that's going on. And what's kind of cool about this, I could go back and say, well, I thought I worked on this project and I noticed here that, I touched it, or, it was on Monday. Yesterday, I did something. Whoa, this is where I added the piglet picture. So again, the daily feed is kind of to keep track of what's going on, and it saves it per day. All right. Okay, the next thing I wanted you to come to is over here to the far right side. This is your timesheet, your physical timesheet. So I can click into here. Right now I'm looking at a week view. It's showing Monday, Tuesday through Friday. I can see how many time entries I put in. I could go to the day view and see it this way. Now you can enter time from here. Typically we don't recommend this because it winds up becoming a billing nightmare for your billing department. If you guys are taking the time to assign your tasks and your services, then at that point you're going to have, it's going to be less of a nightmare for your billing department. Okay. Also, it makes it easier for whoever's entering time. They don't have to think about what project, what task, what service. It's just, if you set it up for them ahead of time, it just makes their life 10 times easier. Okay. So I can enter in a project, maybe I have an overhead project on here. Okay, so we can add this one, and maybe I was taking I don't know, holiday, and it's pulling in my default service. And then of course, if that would be 8 hours. Okay. So I'm just quickly showing you how to enter your time. Now, you did notice for a split second that it went blue, green, and white. You must go through all of those colors for it to save. Some of you that go 100 miles an hour and then you come back and say, oh, it didn't save my time entries. Well, the question is, did you wait for it to save? So it goes blue, green, white, and then it's saved. And you'll notice that it says saved here in the right corner. If this is green, it is not saved. Okay, so again, just kind of remembering to do that, just little tips and tricks while I'm here. You can also look at other days. So in this case, if I move back one caret, I could maybe see what I did, on Sunday. Looks like I was working on a weekend. So again, clicking these carets or clicking into the calendar, and it'll take you to a different day. All right. Also here, this is where you're going to submit or approve your timesheets. I click this icon over to the right. It's letting me know I have all of these open timesheets that I haven't even bothered to approve yet. Well, if any of you are doing time and materials, guess what? You can't bill anything that hasn't been approved. So approve all of them. If you do not have an approval button, you will see a submit button. And that just means someone else has to approve your timesheet. Okay, so big deal. Make sure you submit them or approve them. Underneath the more button, we do have some display options here. You'll know that I have mine to expand. I'm one of those people, I do not like to click. So if I can avoid that and see as much information, then I'm going to do that. Here's some other options where you can default different projects from assignments. All these other little features you guys can turn on for yourself. This again is not a global setting. This is a personal setting. Okay, moving on. So down below our little my timesheet, we have this little weather widget. You can click into that. You can change the location, and wow, it's going to be 91 today, and tomorrow it's going to be 93. I guess we're really hitting a high note. Oh, all right. So apologize for that. Didn't realize how hot it was. Next, on this little schedule here, you will be able to see anything that's happening. Maybe if I put in a meeting and I'm going to do it for, we'll just do this. I want you to see it. And it's going to be tomorrow, and that looks good. Let's see. And let's see if we can get it to show up. We want, yep. Nope. I said, oh, you want to know what? I apologize. We needed to set that for today. So we'll do that in a minute. Well, I'll click into this. So next to your little schedule, You can click this little icon. This actually takes you to the calendar. So you do not have to go back to the main menu and open it, 3 clicks to get there. This is just a quick, easy to jump straight to your calendar. I've set it up so that I have my little panel here showing up, my display options. You can see that I have meetings, so I can click into this and see that meeting that I had today, right? You'll be able to see PTO days. So you're going to have different calendars for different things. So in this case, this is letting me know that I'm taking a vacation day on Friday, and then one of my staff members is as well. Now, let's say you don't want to see everything. You can uncheck each one of these calendars and those will disappear. Now, Naya's PTO is still there because it's attached to her default calendar. Okay, she's the one that's taking the PTO. But you guys can turn these on and off. I can even move these carrots. So right now I'm on the calendar or month view. So over here to the right, if I move the month out, I can see, oh, well, looks like I'm taking, a few days off next month. And here's my holiday. So again, you guys can turn these on and off, depending on what calendar it is. So I just wanted to show you some of these features here. You can refresh if you're making a lot of changes, refresh. You have your display options here. So that legend that you see on the right, that's what this button is. And then for those of you who don't like to see Saturday on Sunday on your week view, like me, I set this up so I don't see them. This is also where you go to add other people's calendars. Well, maybe you need to know what Rose's calendar looks like. I can do add selected. You might also have published calendars that your company has set up for you, and those you can add to that legend that shows up. So I'm just going to do this one. And you'll notice now Rose is set up here as a calendar that I can view. Doesn't mean I can edit, but I can at least see, what her schedule is so I can invite her to a meeting. All right, here's that week view that I told you about. So Saturday and Sunday is missing. And then here's the day view if you need that too. Okay, so works just like a normal calendar. I just wanted to show you how I could quickly get to this. Then let's go ahead. I pretty much talked about everything that there is here, I believe. If you had a meeting, it would show up here. If we put more time, let's see if we can do this. Let's do this one and there we go. Okay, so it's going to show you my time entries are going to show up. If I had any meetings, those are going to show up from here. Okay, next, let's go to the main menu and we're going to go to the creative projects. Remember when I told you about those percentages complete, that it's important for you guys to mark them as you go along? This feeds right into this percentage complete for the project. So that's why it's very important to kind of do those things and remember to do them. Okay, I know a lot of the times creatives forget to do that. So I'm just mentioning it because it does play a big part on the schedule. Okay, so I can click into anything blue with a hyperlink. It's going to open up that project. Here's that daily feed. Now, this daily feed is a little bit different. And I love this daily feed because it can act like a tattletale log. Maybe you added a file and you added it, and now it's not there. You can actually come to the daily feed and it'll give you the date, the time, and the person who did it. Okay, so that's kind of why I love it. I think it's pretty cool feature. Then I can search. Down below, again, if you guys have spec sheets, maybe you want to make sure you're clicking each one of these carrots or a deliverable, or in this case, I can see a ton of conversations that have happened on this project. So I can click into them, look at them, review them, this one underneath the more. We have different options that you can subscribe to. So again, there's that ability to, you saw this conversation and you're like, well, why am I not a part of this? And you can add yourself to it. Okay. I'm not going to go into the rest of these. Down below, if you guys didn't realize this, you have your client records and your contact records linked to your projects, and you can get right to those records if you need to. So if I click on the client, access denied, or, so this is telling me I don't have rights to the client record, but maybe I'm working with this contact. So now I have the ability to open up that contact record. Okay, so just anything blue, click them down below here. This is where you can see your team, email addresses. You can close these carrots up to kind of shorten up the the real estate there. And then as you come back out, you guys may have different views for different people in regards to the columns that you see from left to right. These mine is set up now for account managers, and I'm putting in only certain information that might be relevant to them, you know, like open assignments, open to-dos, but maybe I have a completely different view for other people. I can come in here and pull in what's important for them to see on their grid versus, well, these are my creatives, so they really don't need to see all of that budget information. Okay. Underneath the more button, we have our views, we have refreshing. So again, you may want to refresh if you've made a few changes. You have your own display options here. These display options are going to determine what shows up here. So right now, this is showing only my open assignments, projects where I have an open assignment, or only projects I am on the team of. Okay, so this is not a listing screen of everything that's in the system. It's only, I'm limiting what can be seen on the screen. So you guys have the ability to change these. I don't recommend going too crazy. You have different statuses. So, I mean, if you have nothing to do with final build or any of those other statuses, I would probably remove these and shorten it up. Because if you guys have every buzzer and bell turned on onto the screen, it's going to take a minute to load. Okay, especially if you have projects going back 5 years. Okay, so you can change this display options. It'll adjust what you're looking at. Some of these are editable. So if I have rights, I would be able to change this project type right from this grid, or the status for you project managers out there. You guys can click on some of these fields and they actually open up. The only one that's open here are the to-dos, and I can click open and then see them from here. Okay. All right. After the projects, let's quickly look at your creatives graphs. If you guys have this button, it's just some, graphs that we put into the system. You can ask if you don't see one, then you can ask your supervisor, your administrator to maybe add a couple, but you hover over these and each of them give you information. So I can see that my billable time, I did graphic design and I also did creative direction. So again, just some neat little graphs that you guys can look at. This is all related to timesheets if I submitted it on time. All right. All right. Let me go ahead and let's see if there's any other questions. So bear with me. Let's see. Oh, okay. Apologize. Somebody's asking me, took me a second there. Can I please show how to enter time for future time off? So, yep, I can show you if you have your. So underneath this everyone button, you can get to that calendar, the same one I showed you before from your today page. And if I wanted to enter time for a vacation, so well, I'm going to have to do myself again. And we're going to take off the 22nd. It's going to be all day. This is the trigger. So if you should have vacation calendars, company holiday calendars, and then of course this is showing Naya's default calendar. So if this is for vacation, you select the vacation calendar, you put in the date all day, and then of course you could go ahead and save. I have it set up if I want to have a notification sent. In this case, no, because it's my own stuff. And there I go. I can now see my vacation time on the vacation calendar, and I can also tell because of the color. So again, these 3 entries are on the vacation calendar, but if I don't want to look at them, I can uncheck those too. All right. The only reason I'm seeing Rose is because I have her calendar turned on. So again, these options, you can turn them on and off if you don't want to see them. All right. Hopefully that answered your question. And okay, hold on. Okay, so one question, I apologize. One question is, what do you leave behind if we meetings out of Workamajig versus Outlook. You won't be able to put time entries like you can on ours. Most likely you don't have the connection to the projects. So you'll notice when I went into my meeting, it was linked to a project and a task. Well, if it was a client meeting that you were working on a project of, if you're doing it out of your own system, you're not going to have those hooks that we've put in. Hopefully that answered your question. It looks like it says challenges in a duplication of meetings also in the schedule in Workamajig and our Outlook pulling into the staff schedule view. If you're seeing duplications, it could also be because maybe you're doing it both ways and you have a two-way sync versus a one-way sync. We typically recommend that if you have like an Outlook or a G Suite email, then you pick the calendar that you want to use and only use that calendar in that way. So if I started a meeting in Outlook and I wanted to show on Workamajig, then I have to go back to Outlook if I need to change anything. You can't go back and forth, which confuses the system. Also, you may want to send your duplication issue into support@workamajig.com and then give us an example of what you're looking at. Again, screenshot, or if a video, you could provide a video, that would be great. Okay, hopefully that answered your question. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. So actually, let me come back here. On the everyone, I didn't mention before. So again, you guys can come into here. If you guys have expense reports, I just wanted to cover this really quickly. This is where you add your expense reports. So I can click in here. I've added this, but you'll notice that I didn't submit it. So taking the time to come in here, again, if you plan to be reimbursed, you may want to go ahead and submit this. Some of you may automatically be able to approve, but these are the lines. You can open each one of them. This is letting you know that I purchased some paper towels for the office. Okay, so of course, if you plan to get paid, you'll most likely want to submit your expense reports. All right, this is just showing one that I had that was blank. I didn't even bother to fill it out. So again, you guys have some of these options you might see, some of them you might not. I already went over the calendar. I showed you how to get to the timesheet. We do have a report center. So if you guys have rights to run certain reports, then you can click into them and then they'll show you the reports. All right. So just features that you're going to see here and there. I'm not going to really go through the rest of these because most likely if you are, a creative, then most likely you will just see just these two, maybe the project manager. All right. So that pretty much covers everything today. Any last minute questions before I let you go? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. You just give us a couple of days for that video, for the recording to show up on the help guide. Okay. So, and then of course, if you don't see it after 2 or 3 days, you're more than welcome to email us in at support. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.